So your PlayStation's screwed up and you want to know how to fix it. Right here on Stu's channel.
Alright, welcome to Stu's channel. People have asked me, how do you fix your PlayStation? I'm actually going to tear my PlayStation apart and show you how it's done. The first thing that you're going to want to do with your PlayStation, period, the very first thing is you're going to want to knock off the little covering that covers up the hard drive. There's a green screw that's in here. It's the only green screw you have. Remove it. I've already taken mine out. And take your hard drive out. Slide it, pull it. It comes right out. The next thing that you're going to need is a little screwdriver like this, or a little star fitting for one of these things. Why? Because you take this little tab off of the end here, and the only thing that's going to get this little thing out of here, and you'll have to try a few times, is that little star or a small screwdriver. You put it in, find a place where you can start turning, and it will come off just like so. There's the cover. That's what the inside looks like. Make sure that you take the little star screw out of there, stick it in your bowl, set your piece aside. Next thing you're going to need are some Phillips head screwdrivers. I've already removed these screws. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here, here, here. All of these screws are of a certain length, except for one, and it will be this corner one right here that has an S. This will be the smaller one out of those. There's a little piece that this screw with a star screwed into. Do not lose this piece, otherwise you can't get your cover back on. At this point, when all of these outer screws are off, simply take your PlayStation and it will go from the back side and lift up like so. Not every PlayStation is the same. You'll see that there's a ribbon attached here. Right there is a latch. Pull up on the thing gently. Don't bust it. Just pull up on it until it comes up and slide the ribbon out like so. That's the little latch right there. Little brown latch. Take that thing, move it, take this section, set it to the side. The next item up for bids is going to be your Blu-ray player. This guy right here. Just pull up on it carefully. There's a little wire connection right here. Pull this directly up, just gently. And on this side you have the option of removing at the Blu-ray player or on the actual motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and flip this little latch right here and pull directly out. There's a line on here. That line should line up flush with this. Right there. So there's a latch. You lift it up. If you break this latch, that's not the end of the world. You can actually put the thing in and tape, literally tape down your piece. So you're okay. The next item of bids is the power supply. There's going to be two wires. One on the back, one on the front. Gently push down on the tab and pull out. It's kind of like your phone. On the front side, there's going to be another one. Gently, if you can, try to get it by the plastic piece, or gently move it out of there. Don't pull too hard. There's going to be 4 screws on this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take those screws out, stick them in your bowl. Now this thing just pops directly off, just like so. There's your power supply. Set your power supply down. So you're good on that. You're down to this portion right here. You're going to see this little baby looking, little tiny motherboard looking thing right there. One screw. Try to keep this thing together. It's got a big long strip that goes down here. Grab this thing by the head and pull directly up. It should pop just right off. And over here, take this piece, unscrew it. And I know that this is kind of on the fly, but I said I'd do one of these things. Take this, take the whole thing, put it in your bowl. Next thing up for bids is this guy right here. You're going to see a latch just like you saw in all the other ones. You're going to want to flip this latch, flip it up like so, and move this out. In fact, what I may want to do is I may want to zoom in like so. Maybe that will give me a better focus. Who knows? Take this out. There's going to be 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take them all out, put them in your bowl, period. These are going to be machine screws. Everything attached to your motherboard, attached to it, like, you know, all these other components, they're all going to be machine screws. They'll have a fine thread. So don't worry about getting lost with all these screws. Don't let it get to you. It won't affect you. You only have a certain number of screws that are of machine and a certain number of, oops, had that pop off, certain number of self-tapping screws. This ribbon just popped out of this little area right here. That's where this came from. This thing goes on a particular way, which I will show you when we come back. I've done this a number of times over the course of a few years as far as taking this apart and putting it back together. So I'll show you how that thing goes back in. All 4 of these screws, making sure that you've taken this ribbon off first, this thing pops right up. There's a little notch right here. That's what fits into this, and then it goes down when you put it back together. Set that aside. The next thing, this does not apply to 40 gigabyte hard drive systems. This applies to 60, 80, above, and all those. You're going to see the same little ribbon. This is the common little ribbon that screws up so that when you try to put your PlayStation on, you see it looks like you have no power. Be very gentle with this. Flip the latch and gently pull it out of there. There you go. Try not to screw up with the other side. As far as, don't even tamper with the other side. Take these 2 screws out, throw them in your bowl, and then the thing that's attached here, that this was attached to, take this thing out and set it aside. So this piece right here, it just fits down in here. There's a couple of little nubs that this thing fits right onto. It goes in only one way, and this tray goes in only one way. It will tell you how this goes. There's a notch. It matches up with the notch right there. Put that thing aside. The next item up for bids is going to be all the screws all the way around. You're going to have one particular screw that looks different than all the others. It will be the ground screw. You see it has washers. This will be the only one that has washers. It connects to this yellow and green wire, which only goes so far and connects right onto there. Throw that into your bowl. On here you are going to have, you can have a variation of screws. You can have little tiny thin screws, or they could all be self-tapping screws of the same size. I know that right now on this one, if you look closely, I've marked an X right here. Here's your little power input. I've marked an X right here because I know that this screw is a different size than the rest of them. This will be identical to one of the screws that you pulled out of the top, the short one, just like this. You may have a couple of screws that are very tiny. What you'll want to do is mark those with a marker, and also mark the screw with a marker so that you can tell where to put the thing back. Normally, you're just going to have a bunch of these self-tapping screws. These have a coarse thread. They are different than the ones that we just were dealing with. They're a little longer, and the threads are, oops, here is a coarse thread. This guy, if I can get it into the camera, is a fine thread. Hopefully that's, let me switch over, switch my camera a bit. Yes, a fine screw. Not a lot of light in here. Fine screw, self-tapping screw. Little longer, coarser threads. Okay, take all the screws out. Just go for it. Just start unscrewing stuff. All these little screws that go all the way around. You're going to get over to this one corner here, and you're going to have this little tray that's attached. Just take that and put it into your bowl. You'll need to remember, though, that this thing goes on. A lot of times you'll make the mistake of putting the screws in, and you're wondering where that thing goes. This always goes in the front left-hand corner. This is the back where this thing is. This is the back. Right here where your power goes in. This would be the front of where your PlayStation. This thing always goes on the front left-hand side. So you'll have to put that thing on, then the screws in. Just go for it. Take all your screws out. Start going to town. You see a screw, undo it. And keep going. Yep, all of them.